is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know this. You so know this already. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the listeners are, because that's the important part of the equation. Anyways, how are you doing on this fantastic Friday, the 9th of December? I hope you are having a grandioso time. You know that it is day 343 of the year and only 2 left to go. Yeah, 343, 22 days left to go, and we will get to the end of the shit show. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. And, you know, we're coming across that multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, so there you go. That's that Radio Big place that hangs out at USA, Canada, and UK. So we're coming across on their station, as we also are on Heart Radio. We are also on TuneIn Radio. So we are doing all the stuff. And, you know, we have to get to that iHeart portion because it still boils down to that same thing. It's not a podcast. It is a live stream that comes across because we are doing live radio on that side. And I have to mention this because I've been so flustered about it. I've had some people reach out and go, you know, your entrance is very long. Well, yes, I do realize that the intro to the show is a little bit long, but let me explain. Not that there really should be an explanation, but some of these stations are behind as we interlock with them, meaning that as we are doing the syncing inking of what is going on, you might be on one station that's behind another station and vice versa. So it takes a hot moment for them to all click that they all have the signal. So that's the reason why the long intro. That's why we do music at the very beginning. Because we do music at the very beginning because, hey, we like to promote new music, don't get me wrong, but we also have to get them all to intertwined with each other because of all the different places that we're at. So now you have some useless knowledge for the day of why in the hell the intro is a little bit longer than expected. Anyway, so it is Freeform Friday, so that is a good thing because that means that besides the normal typical bullshit that we do around here, it's going to be more bullshit, and we're going to do a lot of stuff that makes nonsensical sense. Yes, nonsensical sense in regards to the stuff that we do. We'll do some things here, there, and everywhere, and just yappity yap, just to let you know what the hell's going on inside of the world here. So it'll be a little bit of fun as we are getting ready on this Friday. I would imagine that you are already looking around and going, are we going to talk about the trends? We're going to talk about the trends because there was a lot of things trending yesterday, and you can almost envision what the hell I'm going to be talking about, so don't worry about that. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the show. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what the hell's going on. I just kind of parlay on what the hell they have going on, and then we move from there. It's a pretty simple process. It's not that difficult to do. Anyways, with that being said, let's do this because this is going to be important. Let's talk about what's trending.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
So, in looking around on what was trending yesterday, well, let's see. Russia was trending. Brittany Grenier was trending, and Paul Weiland was landed on Twitter Top 10 Trends on Thursday as the Biden administration worked out a deal to trade the release of the WNBA player while leaving behind the Marine. So that was something that was going on. Celine Dion was trending after revealing that she has been diagnosed with a neurological disorder. And then Twitter reacted to the release of Harry and Meghan docuseries, which the hashtag Harry and Meghan Netflix. Posts were evenly split about the support of the couple speaking out against those who questioned why they felt the need to do this, and they were asked for their privacies. We can talk a little bit more about that if you so desire to do so. So there you go. So anyways, outside of that, anything fun going on? Are you doing anything spectacular for the weekend? Are you planning on doing this, that, or the other? Because, we need to talk about these things. We have to make sure that things are up on the uppity up on what you have going on. I look at this and go around and I question sometimes what are the cool kids doing around there around the times, doing the stuff that's going on. I mean, I never know. I always feel like I'm locked up. I'm not sure what I'm doing most of the times. I just know that I'm doing something. I just don't know if I'm doing the right something. Maybe that's the question that I ask myself most of the times. And and then the question has to become, do you really ask yourself that stuff out loud? But then again, I don't think I do, but who knows? A lot of strange happens around here from time to time. So there you go. That's that. Let's get you into some news real quick because it is Freeform Friday, and who knows what kind of news will show up today.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Brittany Griner has been released from a Russian prison and is on her way back to the U.S. The WNBA star is expected to land in San Antonio, Texas, sometime this morning, where she will be taken to Brooke Army Medical Center to be examined and debriefed. Griner was released Thursday in a prisoner swap for Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. President Biden is announcing $36 billion in financial relief to prevent pension cuts for union workers.
These union workers and retirees are facing cuts up to 60% of the benefits starting in the next few years.
While speaking alongside Labor Secretary Marty Walsh and union leaders, the president said the funds will cover more than 100 employers and hundreds of thousands of union workers and retirees. Biden said the move is part of his plan to restore the middle class and unions. The money will come from the American Rescue Plan's Special Financial Assistance Program. The Justice Department is asking a federal judge to hold former President Trump's legal team in contempt of court over documents in the Mar-a-Lago raid. The request came after Trump's lawyers said they found more classified items during a recent search of several of Trump's properties before Thanksgiving. Trump is under criminal investigation for taking government documents from the White House when he left office. The number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment benefits is slightly on the rise. Brian Shook has the details.
The Labor Department says 230,000 Americans filed such claims a week ago. That's 4,000 more than the previous week's revised total. The largest increases in first-time claims for the week that ended on November 26th were seen in Wisconsin, Connecticut, and Ohio. California, Illinois, and Georgia had the largest drops. I'm Brian Shook.
And the Keystone Pipeline has been shut down after an oil leak was discovered in northern Kansas. TC Energy in Calgary says there's been a confirmed release of oil in a creek near the Kansas-Nebraska border. No timetable has been given for restarting the pipeline. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
New information is being released regarding the murder of Texas 7-year-old Athena Strand. The suspect, Tanner Horner, is being charged with aggravated kidnapping and capital murder after admitting to killing her on November 30th. Court documents show Horner told police he accidentally backed his FedEx truck into Strand, but she was not seriously injured. Horner says he then panicked because she was going to tell her father, and so he strangled her to death in the back of the vehicle. He also allegedly told police where to find her body. His bond has been set at $1.5 million. Inflation is lighting up the cost of your Christmas decorations.
Christmas display retailer Aldic Home out of Los Angeles says prices for some of its items have increased by as much as 25%. Their artificial trees have increased by 10 to 12%, and Aldic Home isn't alone. Shops across the U.S. report similar increases.
General Motors will be installing as many as 40,000 electric vehicle charging stations in rural parts of the U.S. The automaker will have them at parks, athletic venues, and shopping districts where drivers might park their car for a few hours. There are currently 43,000 charging stations in the U.S. An L.A.-based rapper has been sentenced to prison for COVID-19 fraud. Jordan Christmas has more.
A rapper based in Los Angeles will spend 6 years behind bars after committing COVID-19 fraud and bragging about it in a music video. Fontrell Antonio Baines, who goes by the stage name Nuke Bizzle, was sentenced Wednesday and will pay over $700,000 in restitution. Officials say Baines illegally obtained over $700,000 by exploiting pandemic unemployment benefits in 2020. In his music video, Baines can be seen holding up a stack of envelopes from the California Employment Development Department. He had a lyric referencing the debit cards that came in the mail.
You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking the truth.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush.
Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
I believe there are some people that enjoy that sound, so let's not get sticky icky when we are talking. Anyway, 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this fantastic Friday, which is also Freeform Friday, which means I don't know what the freak I'm going to talk about as we are doing this. But then again, I probably don't know what I'm going to talk about half the time that I'm behind here. Anyways, Microsoft's acquisition of video game studio Activision Blizzard has hit a major roadblock. The Federal Trade Commission intends to stop it on the grounds of the buyout would create an anti-competitive market. Worth noting, the Xbox console is Microsoft's product, and regulatory fear that the integration of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard would lead to fewer game titles to other consoles platforms. Microsoft says that it will challenge the FTC suit, citing commitments to keep popular titles available on other platforms for at least the next decade. I mean, didn't they just announce that they were going to try to put Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch if everything went through properly? So, I mean, I just don't understand the whole thing. Or if not, just do a joint venture. You know what I'm saying? Do a joint venture. That'll get you around there. Oh, did I say that out loud? I think I did. Damn it, man. Damn it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so take a listen to this. A small break in the search of the suspect who killed 4 students in Idaho last month. Authorities say that they're looking for whoever was in a white Hyundai Elantra that was parked near the off-campus home where the victims were killed. The breakthrough is a result of tips and leads that there was no license plates on the camera footage. So far, officials aren't confident of what role whoever was in the vehicle had played. I mean, it's a weird one if you think about it. Because now you're looking for someone who is just driving a Hyundai Elantra, which, I mean, that's going to scare you right away. Because then it's like, damn it, now so many people know that I'm driving a Hyundai Elantra. And, there's no license plate, so that's going to narrow it down to a few thousand vehicles if you really kind of give it some thoughts. So there you go. Anyways, the Florida city of Lake Worth was without power this week because of disruption in a major power transformer. An immediate investigation revealed the transformer blew out after an iguana tail came in contact with it. Yeah, the iguana didn't make it, by the way, just in case. All told, power was out for only about 30 minutes. But still, think about this. If the system is that fragile, that an iguana tail, yes, I should say an iguana tail, can put you out of business for 30 minutes. That does not sound too confidence building.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, a pair of thieves have become pretty brazen in their attempts to steal fuel from gas stations in Salt Lake City. Video footage shows that the crooks are pulling up in small, modified tanker trucks and pumping them full of gasoline before driving off without paying. So far, they pulled off the heist at least at 7 gas stations in the area and possibly as far as Arizona. Video footage shows that the 2 truckers pulling up, one white, one black, and taking about $1,000 at a crack. $1,000? Do you mean 1,000 gallons? I'm sure that meant $1,000. I mean, gallons. And I can't even speak. It's 1,000 gallons at a crack. So worth asking, at what point does the clerk shut off the pumps? And if 2 trucks pull up side by side that they're going to pay in cash, don't and run up hundreds of gallons of fuel, doesn't someone do something? I mean, it's just a question. I mean, yesterday I stop at a gas station and I'm looking around. Gas is $2.98. The stupid ass pump is not working properly, so there you go. And all of a sudden, it looks like you're going to have to go in. And they're going to ask for your credit card or charge card or debit card before you can do anything. And they're going to ask you the popular question, how much would you like to put in? And so, of course, you have to come up with some level of answer. So there you go, some stuff to think about there. Anyways, take a listen to this. Hawaii Mauna Loa volcano has become active in recent days, but officials say that the lava flow is no longer a threat to reaching the main highway that runs across the Big Island. One chief of the U.S. Geological Survey, Hawaii's Volcano Observatory, tells the Associated Press that the volcano has slowed its production rate, stemming the flow but encourages ongoing caution. Yeah, something tells me if there's lava, I'm not going to want to do anything with it unless it's that show on Netflix that the floor's in lava. That might be the only thing that I want to do that's related to that. So some things to think about real quick. Anyways, I think it's time right now to talk real quick about what the hell is going on inside of the market. So why don't we do that by bringing in some Johnny Smalls?
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, December 9th, 2022. Equities rebounded Thursday and may move higher, but it all depends on today's read of the PPI index. It's expected to support the idea of an ongoing FOMC interest rate hike, so may not be a catalyst for buying. The caveat is that producer prices may come in on the weak side, which is a catalyst for higher index prices, albeit a dubious one. A single month of weak inflation data is not a trend, nor does it signal the end of the FOMC policy tightening. Next week, we'll bring another read of the CPI index as well, and this time it will come before the FOMC meeting. The CPI is much more important than the PPI, and it may send another jolt through the market. The takeaway is that the FOMC is going to keep hiking rates and will do so by at least 50 basis points next week. This will add additional pressure to earnings outlooks and may bring the S&P 500 down with it. The risk is the Fed will either increase the hawkish tone of the statement or the CPI will put another 75 basis point hike on the table. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John, for the information, because it is important to talk about. There is no doubt about that as we are hanging out. Anyways, the Dow added about 183 points to close at 33,781 on Thursday. The S&P added about 29 points to close at 3,963, while the NASDAQ added about 123 points to close at 11,082. West Texas Intermediate slid to $71 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $76 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.32 on Thursday. Bitcoin surged on Thursday evening, picking up about $350 and trading around 17,200 on Good-O Thursday evening. And then let's talk about some flighty-ighty stuff, because I think we need to talk about that. There was about 2,261 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, with about 58 such cancellations. So there you go. Doesn't sound too terrible on the cancellation side, but definitely if I was on a canceled flight, that's not the flight that I want to be on. Ta-da! I know, shocking news there. Anyways, let's talk about what you have going on this weekend. If you're sticking around and not doing much, which I don't blame you, I would be doing the same thing. Let's talk about some of the video on demand stuff that's going to be out coming up real quick. So let's talk about this. On Amazon Prime, you're going to have something from Tiffany's and The Shack. And then new to HBO Max will be Teen Titans Go, the movies. Yes, there you go. New to Hulu will be My Favorite Girlfriend. Wow, that's an interesting title. Hopefully your favorite girlfriend's the one that you're with, because if not, that becomes a very weird one. Also, White Elephant and Off Season. Yes, it's the off season. You know, the season of being off, the season of not being anything but off. So there you go. And then what else do we have? New to Netflix will be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, so there you go. Some Pinocchio action, some Pinocha action if you're so inclined. In regards to what was going on out there. So let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world in the news. Take a listen to this. The OnlyFans model has been charged with stabbing her boyfriend to death in Miami, will not be getting out of jail anytime soon. This is coming out of Miami, Florida. Take a listen.
Denying the defense's motion to
Courtney Clenny's defense team argued before the judge this week that she has virtually no money to flee because of her OnlyFans account has been canceled. She is not working, and the money that she does have is tied up in legal fees and real estate. Courtney claims that she stabbed Christian, and I won't butcher his last name, in self-defense. Her next court hearing is set for February the 6th. Judge Laura Cruz rules that Courtney Clenny will not be allowed to head home on house arrest as she awaits trial.
order does deny Ms. Clenny release.
Claney's attorney, Frank Prieto, disagrees with the judge's decision, saying that she is not a flight risk.
She basically is bereft of any kind of funds that would allow her to survive outside of the jurisdiction.
Yeah, Frank Prieto was unable to persuade the judge, and she does not have the money to flee, according to what he has to
Her
say.
OnlyFans contract was canceled immediately back in April. She does not have the ability to make these monies, as the state alleged, and as the judge unfortunately adopted their view.
The attorney for Christian I'm not going to butcher his last name, family says that the faith in the system has been renewed.
We look forward to the ultimate justice is when a jury of her peers find her guilty.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. So, I mean, I know that there was some stuff there that she has an OnlyFans or had an OnlyFans, and it got discontinued because of what she has going on in the circumstances. Let's be realistic here. Because of the popularity of OnlyFans, remember that they were removing all sexually explicit content a while ago before they realized that it was going to crash their whole system in regards of what they were going to be bankrolling anymore. There have been some other sites that have come about in regards that are there, I guess that we'll say competition. So it's not like this lady could not go on to something else if she wanted to do so. Not that I'm trying to, encourage or give business sense here, but let's just be realistic. She's not limited on what she can do. Just throwing that out there for my 2 cents. Anyways, let's talk about this. Members of NASA and the Navy are heading out on Sunday to recover the Orion capsule from Artemis. Jack Cronin has an update.
President of the Air and Space Museum in Balboa Park says the uncrewed Artemis 1 mission is a big step toward returning to the moon.
We've got this new rocket, Orion. It's no longer seating 3, it's seating 4. It's about a third larger. So they're going to test out the heat shield. They're testing out a whole bunch of stuff so they can evaluate virtually everything they need to test. This one without anybody in it, no humans aboard, followed by Artemis 2, which will have a full crew.
Artemis 2 will be sending 4 astronauts back around the moon in early 2024. The return of the Orion capsule, this time for Artemis 1, comes 50 years to the day after the last moon mission, Apollo 17, landed on the lunar surface in 1972. I'm Jack Cronin.
Yes, welcome to the dark side of the moon is what it sounds like. Anyways, in a human trafficking sting, nearly 24 people are now getting help. Listen to what's going on here.
For the holidays ran over 3 days in San Diego National City in Santee. It's led by the multi-agency San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force. Undercover officers posed as commercial sex customers and responded to sex ads online. 5 people are now under arrest, suspected of pimping and pandering. Plus, the California Attorney General's office says it's offered support services to 21 people. In 2020, the National Human Trafficking Hotline reported more than 1,300 human trafficking cases in California, more than any other state. I'm Lucinda Kay.
Okay, thank you, Lucinda Kay, for the information. Take a listen to this. Coming out of Bluff County, Georgia, a Statesboro assistant principal may soon be out of jail due to an encounter with an elementary school student that landed him in jail. Take a listen to this.
Allegedly, inappropriately disciplined a 7-year-old student at Maddie Lively Elementary School in mid-November. WSAV-TV reports on November 28th, he was arrested and charged with simple battery, a misdemeanor. While the Bullock County Schools released a statement about the incident, there was no mention of what type of discipline he used on the child. He had been with the district since 1993. His most recent job was as assistant principal and athletic director at Statesboro High School. The school district superintendent is recommending that Hill be terminated. I'm Liz Kennedy.
Okay, thank you, Liz, for that one. Take a listen to this real quick. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt has banned TikTok from the state government-issued devices, including cell phone computers and any other devices capable of internet activity. Brian Shook has more info.
Says his executive order is in response to ongoing national and cybersecurity threats created by TikTok, which is owned by Chinese company ByteDance. Stitt says the state will not participate in helping the Chinese Communist Party gain access to government information. I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, thank you, Brian, for that one. So how do you treat your devices inside of your workplace? Do you have people that have the talk of the tick or the tick of the talk inside of their phones? I'm just asking. because if it is devices that you are handing out, of course, that is something that you can actually talk about if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, take a listen to this. 2 rescued after a fall down an elevator shaft in the Bronx. Officials are saying that 2 victims that fell down a Target store elevator shaft in the Bronx are expected to be okay. Lisa G has some more information.
FDNY Deputy Fire Chief John Sirocco said the store's loss prevention worker and a teenager fell after getting into a fight.
The first victim was moved immediately. The second victim was a little more difficult operation. He was underneath the elevator.
The fight started when the Target employee tried to escort the teen out of the store. Fire officials set up a rope system to hoist up the injured employee, with a watching crowd bursting into applause. Lisa G., NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Lisa G., for that one, letting us know what's going on. Take a listen to this. 401k hardship withdrawals are hitting record highs. Lisa Taylor has more information.
The Vanguard Group reports 0.5% of people who have 401ks took a hardship distribution in October. While that number may seem small, it's the largest share on record since 2004. Vanguard says it's just one more sign households still feel the pinch of inflation. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Yep, thank you, Lisa Taylor, for that one. And that's what's going on. I mean, people are seeing some of the things that are going on inside of the economy, and you're trying to grab whatever you can, and it makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hardships are not a fun time, that is for sure, as we are talking. A lot of stuff going on outside in the world, but hey, it's the way that it is right now in our current circumstance. Let's hope that things get better soon.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Story news in London, I'm Laura Makin-Isherwood. Parts of southern India are bracing for heavy rainfall and strong winds as Cyclone Mandus is expected to make landfall by Friday night. India's meteorological department has issued alerts across the region and disaster relief teams have been deployed as precautionary measures. Shriyoshi Mukherjee reports.
Cyclone Mandus was initially a deep depression in the Bay of Bengal but has now intensified into a cyclonic storm. Officials in the region of Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry are on high alert. India's meteorological department expects very heavy rainfall and squally winds with the wind speed reaching up to 85 km per hour. Around 400 rescue and relief personnel are on standby across the coast of Tamil Nadu. Schools and colleges have been closed in 12 districts and fishermen have been asked not to venture out to sea for the next 2 days. Residents in Chennai have also been asked to stay inside their homes. Shriyoshi Mukherjee, New Delhi.
Parts of northern Europe are bracing for the arrival of extremely cold weather, with energy providers warning the sub-zero temperatures could strain electricity infrastructure. In Germany, several media outlets are reporting intermittent blackouts are being considered as a way to help stabilise supplies. From Berlin, Trent Murray reports.
A leaked government report given to the Bild newspaper Friday says Germany's energy situation is worse than being reported, with 90-minute blackouts proposed if the grid is placed under severe stress as Northern Europe prepares for the arrival of extremely cold weather in coming days and weeks. The report blames lower nuclear output from neighbouring France. Under the momentary shutdown policy, electricity across whole regions would be cut for 90 minutes to help stabilise the grid and prevent longer, unplanned outages. The country's energy ministry maintains the situation is stable, but is still calling on German businesses and households to cut back gas and energy use where possible. Trent Murray, Berlin.
The UK, Italy and Japan have announced a new joint partnership that aims to develop the next generation of military stealth fighter jet. The project aims to bring the aircraft into operation by the mid-2030s, with the three nations contributing defence and technology expertise. The plans could create thousands of jobs and strengthen security partnerships as nations look to stay at the forefront of the defence landscape. The announcement comes ahead of a planned refresh of the UK's defence, security and foreign policy outlook, set to be published next year. And there's been no comment from Buckingham Palace so far in response to the first 3 episodes of a new Netflix documentary series following the lives of Prince Harry and Meghan the Duchess of Sussex. There have been reports that the royal family were not asked to reply to the claims and subjects touched upon by the couple, but Netflix producers maintain that they did approach the royal family for comment. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking again today at the debate over the future of the Elgin marbles, those stunning panels from the Parthenon removed from Greece in the early 1800s by British soldier and diplomat Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin. Earlier this week, it was reported that the British Museum has made progress in discussions with the Greeks over the marbles' return to a new museum being constructed in Athens. But on Tuesday, Britain's Culture Secretary said any return of the panels would represent a slippery cultural slope. Professor Christy Konstantakopoulou of Birkbeck University is a member of Greece's National Hellenic Research Foundation.
The Ottomans did indeed give the permission to Lord Elgin to remove the marbles, but the question is, whose ownership are the marbles now? And I find it very perplexing and indeed insulting, the argument that the marbles are not safe in Athens. This stands on a basis of basically cultural supremacy over thefts of antiquities and ideologies and the very culture and tradition of peoples that they were considered inferior.
Last month, another museum in London agreed to return ancient bronzes looted in 1897 from the city of Benin, now part of Nigeria, and the Nigerian authorities want American museums to follow suit. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, southern India is bracing for extreme rain and high winds as Cyclone Mandus is expected to make landfall in the coming hours. Local reports in Germany claim the nation's energy infrastructure could be strained, with speculation over blackout plans. And no comment from Buckingham Palace so far in response to Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex's Netflix documentary series. That's the latest feature story news. Laura Macon-Isherwood reporting.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work.
Sorry, I'm late.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi. Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum. That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe. I didn't know the trees were so amazing. Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb. That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying, you know.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Yes, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Freeform Friday, hour 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. I hope you are off to a fantastic Friday, getting into the move and groove of things that are going on. Okay, this little song right here is called Top of the World by 32 Stitches. Not 2, not 3, but 32 Stitches. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Yeah, you can take a little downloady-ody of it if you want to do that. That will get you moving and grooving. We want to thank 32 Stitches for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. I almost called Jay Allen the Morning Show, which will confuse a lot more people than what I would normally want to do. Okay, so there you go, 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 there you go. Anyways, I'm still having all kinds of fun on this lovely Friday. It's been a pretty interesting week so far. And I know we're coming to the end of it, but man, I think that it's been some good times together on this thing. I mean, I will tell you, we've been doing some things, talking about some shit that people don't like to talk about, but really thought-provoking stuff with the amount of messagings that I have received in regards of, you know, people not being happy, some people being happy, some people trying to figure out what neuro-linguistic programming is, all that kind of fun stuff. It's been a good time. I will tell you to you that way. But as we talk every day, and as we hang out, and we still talk about it, and I want to tell you about this thing that's all important to me, and that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org, or text the word TALK to 988, or call 988. By the way, if you are in the Orlando market today and tomorrow, I'll talk about this real quick, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. They're based out of Melbourne, Florida. That's Melbourne, Florida. And tomorrow, or today and tomorrow, they will have their warehouse open, which they only do this once a year, where you can come in and purchase the stuff that you're able normally to purchase online, but also some exclusives inside of their warehouse. at a 25% discount, which that also helps as well. And keep in mind that To Write Love on Her Arms is also people that talk about mental distress, suicide prevention, and so on, and they're there to help you. And I am a huge fan of theirs. If you ever see me, and if you're on the video portion, I am showing my bracelets because I love all of their messaging. And a lot of people don't know this, but if you buy one of their shirts, normally inside of the shirt itself, it has a whole bunch of messaging inside of there. Inside, not outside. Inside, there are some messages on the outside too. But inside of the shirt, there's all kinds of messaging. I only mention this because I think it's kind of an important thing to talk about, and it's such a rarity for them to do something where they're opening their warehouse to people. But like I said, if you want to take a look at it, you can do that by going to Write Love on Her Arms. Also, keep in mind about the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, because it is important to talk about. Anyways, if you have nothing to do this weekend and you're thinking about going to the movie theater, let's talk about some of the movies that are coming out. The Whale, a reclusive English teacher suffering from a severe obesity, attempts to reconnect with his estranged teenage daughter for one last chance at redemption. So that's starting today. Spoiler alert, and that's the name of the movie, not that I'm going to give you one. The story of Michael Ozialo and Kit Cohen's relationship that takes a tragic turn when Cohen is diagnosed with terminal cancer. That one's also there. And also a new movie coming out today, Empire of Light, a story of human connection and the magic of cinema set in the English seaside town in the early 1980s. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. Anyways, let's talk about some things that are going on. So no noise is good noise, according to what I have to say here. They say that good fences make good neighbors, but that doesn't help when they're too loud. And that's a shame, because according to a new study, noisy neighbors don't just affect your quality of life. Their rackets is more annoying than any other nuisance, and it might even give you a heart disease. Marcus Mueller-Trappett of the National Research Council of Canada conducted sound experiments and discovered that the impact that sounds made by noisy neighbors, such as stomping feet or dropping objects on the floor, and more annoyingly, even more general consensus sounds such as TV and loud speech. The company notes that long-term exposure to these unwanted sounds could potentially trigger cardiovascular problems and sleep disturbance. Sleep Disturbia? Really? I thought that was a song. And with the increased population and density of urban areas over the last few decades, the rise of working from home, and the researchers believe that the topic is more relevant than ever. So exactly. That's why I blast my music in my apartment all day long and all night. I mean, why wouldn't I do that? Wouldn't that make the most logical sense? And actually, there's one thing worse than having a noisy neighbor, having noisy neighbors who you can't understand what they're arguing about, because that makes it even worse. I don't understand those, that's for sure, as we are talking. Anyways, let me tell you real quick about some stuff that is going on. If you have not picked up our latest ebook, you're more than welcome on doing so by going to safetyfm.com. Plus.com. That's safetyfmplus.com. That's how to deal with stress and anxiety. Great thing to talk about during this time of the year, because, hey, this is the season to be jolly, is what they say. You can find that at safetyfmplus.com. Also, let me tell you about this event that's going on in March. It's the Safety Differently workshop, hosted by Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Mark Yeston, Bob Edwards, and yours truly. That'll be taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you want to take a viewy-ooey about what is going on, you get to determine what kind of path you go down. That actually workshop will be taking place right then, right there, right now in March, if you want to come out, hang out in Santa Fe, New Mexico. You can find out more information at safetyfm.io. By the way. Anyways, I got a lot of stuff, little time to do so. Let's get into some Motivation Minute stuff, because I got Johnny Small still around, and I'm sure he wants to talk about it. So let's do that.
Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Mike. Jamie Polinetti said, "Limitations live only in our minds, but if we use our imaginations, our possibilities become limitless." I love it. Many times we set these limits. I worked at a radio station with a special piece of software from the 1990s. When I worked there over a decade later, they were still using the software and then saving it to a big floppy disk, then transferring it on a different computer to a small hard disk, then onto the final computer where it would get posted to the internet. I watched this bizarre process, and then I finally said, "Can I just type it into the last computer instead?" He said, "We don't have the program on that computer." And I pointed out, hey, we don't need that program anyway. 2 computers were retired that day. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. According to latest research, elementary school children ages 6 to 12 who get less than 9 hours of sleep per night have smaller brain volume in regions responsible for attention, memory, and impulse control. This was also linked to more mental health problems and cognitive difficulties. The smaller brain volumes in key areas controlling attention, memory, and impulse control persisted for at least 2 years, suggesting a potential long-term impact of inadequate sleep on brain development. The differences in brain volume were also correlated with greater mental health problems including depression, anxiety, and impulsive behaviors. Less than 9 hours of nightly sleep in children was also linked to memory problems, problem solving, and decision-making troubles. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Toscani, the world-famous conductor, was extraordinarily demanding. Following a concert that was magnificently performed, the first violinist said, "If he scolds me after that, I'll jump up and push him off this platform." But Toscani did not scold. He stood silent, his arms still outstretched, his deep eyes burning with an inner fire. After a long silence, he spoke. "Who am I? Who are you? I am nobody. You are nobody." A great stillness filled the hall as he added, "Beethoven is everything." To Toscani, Beethoven was everything. To the passionate believer, Jesus is everything. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
There you go. That's about as clear as mud as you get around here. So a lot of stuff going on. Anyways, currently 52 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out still on this fantastic Friday. I'm starting to take a look around here. You know what we haven't done in a while? We have not done a tech report, so maybe we should do that now.
Apple is dropping its plan to scan photos stored on iCloud for child sexual abuse material. Apple announced the initiative in August of last year, but it quickly drew widespread criticism from privacy and security experts, as well as digital rights groups. The company now says, in response to the feedback and guidance it received, the scanning tool to detect child sexual abuse material is dead. Microsoft's deal to buy video game developer Activision Blizzard is now the subject of a lawsuit. The FTC is taking the deal to court. It says the $69 billion deal would enable Microsoft to suppress competitors to its Xbox gaming consoles. The agency added that Microsoft has a history of acquiring and using valuable gaming content to suppress competition from rival consoles. And the nation's capital is suing Amazon. Washington, D.C. Attorney General Carl Racine says it can and should do better. He claims the retail giant tricked shoppers and stole tips that were meant for delivery drivers, then used the money to reduce labor costs and increase profits. Tech Report, Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there. Take a listen to this. New information is being released regarding the murder of Texas 7-year-old Athena Strand. The suspect, Tanner Horner, is being charged with aggravated kidnapping and capital murder after admitting of killing her on November the 30th while delivering via FedEx.
Mom is preparing for one final goodbye before returning home to a Christmas tree still full of gifts for Athena. Inside that FedEx package was one more gift, Barbie dolls for her little girl.
NBC Priscilla Thompson, court documents show that Horner told police he accidentally backed his FedEx truck into the Strand, but also that she was not seriously injured. Horner said that he panicked because she was going to tell her father, so he strangled her to death in the back of the vehicle. He also allegedly told officers where to find the body. His bond has now been set to $1.5 million, and he awaits the trial. I mean, I don't understand what the hell you're thinking here. Like, I hit you with my truck, so my decision here is to turn around and strangle your ass because you're going to tell your dad. What? I mean, I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Let's take a look around. The first graphical user interface of computer debuts in Stanford University in California. It was complete with mouse and two-way video conferencing. The whole computer was larger than most TV sets at the time. That happened back in 1968. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I got some of those for you. Simon Helberg turns 42. Booba turns 46. Lori Greiner turns 53. Kurt Angle turns 54. Felicity Huffman turns 60. Donny Osmond, 65. Judi Dench turns 88. That's some birthdays going on right now. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those. It's Christmas Card Day, National Pastry Day, World Techno Day, International Anti-Corruption Day, Lost and Found Day, International Day of Veterinary Medicine, and National Llama Day. Now, don't be a llama ama, as we are talking about that real quick. Anyways, let's talk about some things that are going on because this is going to be important. Okay, iHeartRadio Jingle Ball returns to Madison Square Garden tonight. It's also going to be streaming in theaters across the U.S. for the first time. IMAX is partnering with the iHeartRadio to bring the holiday music event to fans across the country. Today, over 75 IMAX live theaters will host Jingle Ball event that features stars like Lizzo, Dua Lipa, Backstreet Boys, Demi Lovato, and more. So there you go. You already have my vote of confidence. All you had to do was say one name, and you already said it. So there you go, and we'll go from there. Anyways, if you need, if you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. They say it is better to give than it is to receive. I say it depends on the gift, and I might agree with that. So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, here's one. What festive food do you think is the grossest? There's a lot that comes to mind as we are talking. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. Question. A Career Builder survey says that 7% of employers have fired someone due to this. What is it? Online shopping while at work. I mean, that makes all kinds of sense. I mean, you shouldn't be shopping while you're at work. That just doesn't seem like that falls into the cartel of things that you should be doing. Just something to think about real quick as we are talking about it. What do you think? Do you think that that's a reason to fire someone, or do you totally disagree? I mean, I get it. But there's a lot of stuff to think about as we are talking there. Anyway, so that's going to bring us to an end of this thing. Thank you for hanging out all week with me because, it's important for us to hang out. Without you, it does not make sense to do this thing. That is for sure. Also, if you want to continue to hang out, I will be going exclusively over to RadioBig.fm. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can also find us on TuneIn Radio or any of, live streaming provider in regards of radio content. You can even tell your little mobile device, if you're using Apple, say, hey, play Radio Big, and it'll find us directly there. That's how it does it. So anyways, with that being said, that's going to end it for us. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. That is for sure. So I want you to think about that. Anyways, if I could leave you with a deep thought for this weekend, think about this. It is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. Think about it. There you go. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Hopefully you enjoyed this Freeform Friday.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.